It's official, folks. Donald Trump has won the presidency. So, joining us today to talk market reaction and what are the implications on the Federal Reserve. It's FOMC day today, wrapping tomorrow. Joining me with all this news breaking, Jim Rickards. He's the best-selling author of his latest. Well, he's the best-selling author of numerous books, but he has his latest that's already been ranked #1 in finance on Amazon. Author of MoneyGPT. Jim Rickards, good to see you this morning. I know it was a long night for you, it was a long night for us tracking all this. How are you feeling?
Well, thank you. Yeah, I was up till 2:30. I wanted to see the final call. Trump's speech was going to happen later. I said, okay, I got enough information. He won. We had that in our forecast. Yeah, I got a good night's sleep. A pot of coffee doesn't hurt, but yeah, feeling good today, and so as are
Well,
a lot of people.
well, I want to say kudos to you because you've been calling the Trump win, even in the midst of everyone saying, too close to call, too close to call. To the point, Jim, you said 312 electoral votes was your number. Looks like you're going to get it.
We thank you. We pushed that out on October 30th in one of our newsletters, so almost a week before the election. We said 312. As it stands right now, there are a few states that have not been called. I mean, Trump won. That's over. But if you take the states that have not been called, and Trump's ahead in 4 out of 4 by significant, it's Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska. Trump's ahead significantly in 4 out of 4. If you give him those four, it comes to 312. So we not only called Trump, but we stuck the landing in terms of the exact number of electoral votes. We also we had a good call on the Senate. I said 54-46. Right now it's 52, but there are two undecideds, and again, the Republicans are leading in both. So a little more work, a little more wood to chop, but looks like we got it just right.
Jim, looking across the board here at markets, I mean, we have everything roaring, ripping right now. The Dow, the S&P, the Nasdaq, 10-year Treasury yields posting huge leap to 4.46%. We have the dollar seeing its biggest gain since 2020. Your take on what the market is signaling and saying here?
Well, thank you. One of the good things about predicting Trump was going to win is we were able to actually do some research and to our newsletter subscribers and others and interviews and shows like yours, tell people what the best trades were. In other words, what sectors were going to benefit from Trump. There's some that are going to be hurt. The Green News scam, windmill operators. We don't have to get on the list. Those are all going to be hurt. Trump's not bashing them. He's just saying we're not going to subsidize them. We're not going to put them at the front of the line anymore. You're on your own. Most of them are not economic. So we don't have to spend time on that. But there is a list of places you don't want to be. But on the positive side, here are the sectors, because as I said, I did a big article on this a couple of days ago. Obviously, oil, natural gas drilling, production, and refining. And I like Marathon Oil because they're of course they're an exploring producing company along with ExxonMobil and Chevron, but Marathon has a big refining slice, and U.S. hasn't built a new refinery since the 1970s. So you're not only going to see pipelines and maybe finally get the Keystone XL pipeline done after all those delays, but you're going to see an expansion of refining capacity. So I like that. Mining for sure. Um, as as costs of production go down, as electricity prices go down, based on drill baby drill. If you produce more energy, you're going to have lower energy prices. And as you know better than anyone, Danielle, energy and water are big inputs into the mining business. But opening up leasing on federal lands, relaxing environmental permits. By the way, I have a certain amount of experience in the mining industry. I've never seen anyone who's more careful about the environment. I mean, they if you're using arsenic to get reduction to gold, for example, they case it and they weigh it, and they say you better account for every drop of arsenic. It's not like they're dumping this into the water, so it's not a threat to the environment. But they've been using the environment to stand in the way. That's going to change. Mining is going to expand. Canada, different set of rules, but the U.S., places like Nevada, which is Utah, which are kind of mining friendly, that's going to grow. And if you have an industrial expansion, what do you need? More copper, more lithium. Silver is an industrial metal. Defense and national security for sure. And it's not all about, RTX. It used to be Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, et cetera. Yeah, they're the biggies. But a company called Leidos, which has three verticals. It's defense, national security, and IT. I can't think of a better combination of things that are going to benefit under Trump. Automobile manufacturing. Sorry, China. Sorry, Mexico. Trump. And by the way, you have to know the people behind it. Robert Lighthizer, Peter Navarro. I mean, I know Peter personally. I've spoke to other Trump advisors. Um, they're going to pound foreign imports of cars with tariffs. Like, yeah, I sound like Trump now, but like you've never seen. And Mexico is not going to get off the hook under well, it's the USMCA now, the updated version of NAFTA, but basically it allows Mexican cars into the US without tariffs. But a lot of those Mexican car plants are owned by China. Trump's going to single them out, put huge tariffs on them. So what they're saying, they're not saying we're against foreign investment. They're saying you, China, Japan, Korea, whoever you are, you can sell cars in the United States, but you have to make them here. You're going to have to
Well,
open plants. So that's going to be a big plus. Cryptocurrency, I'm not a fan, but markets are markets. Bitcoin's way up. Banking and finance, trucking and airlines. If you lower energy costs, which Trump will, then their margins will go up. So there are a lot of sectors that are going to benefit.
big banks are surging.
Yep. Yeah, because they have to finance all this. You don't have to be speculating or use leverage anymore. You can just be a good financial intermediary.
Well, okay, you mentioned Bitcoin. Yeah, Bitcoin's doing great, right? And we've seen
Right.
how, Trump's positive comments on Bitcoin. Why the takeoff in Bitcoin? Is it because he's Bitcoin friendly? And of course, the gold bugs are going to ask you, Jim, is just a risk aversion play here? Why is gold selling off?
Well, first on the Bitcoin thing, look, Trump reached out to a lot of constituencies, blue collar, African Americans, Hispanics. Well, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency more broadly, is a constituency. They're particularly with younger voters, people under 30, is very popular. And he's going to put Elon Musk practically in the cabinet. And Elon Musk, I think he's behind Dogecoin. By the way, I'm not saying buy crypto, but as an analyst, I'll put my own views aside. As an analyst, this is going to do very well. And the key is you have to get the SEC and the CFTC to stop treating cryptos as securities. Once you do that, then almost anything goes. There'll be some regulation, and obviously you want to avoid fraud. But this is a huge regulatory win for the cryptocurrency industry. There's no question about it.
And the gold sell-off, Jim, is this
Sure.
just, a one-day reaction? What do you see here?
Yeah, gold is going to get a lot stronger, and it's not like we're not going back to a gold standard or anything of the kind. But here's the thing: gold is being driven by factors that are bigger than Trump. Presidency is a big deal. Looks like the Republicans might have what we call a trifecta, where you get the White House, the Senate. The Republicans have the Senate. House is still close, but it looks like they'll get the House, maybe only by a few votes. That's the trifecta when you have the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives, and then that means treaties, tax reconciliation, Supreme Court appointments. There's a whole bunch of things that you can get done if you do that. And none of it's bad for gold, but it's not really pertinent. But gold is being driven by things that are bigger than Trump, bigger than the White House. The central bank buying, the BRICS, de-dollarization, the fact that the U.S. froze and is in the process of stealing $300 billion worth of Russian-owned U.S. Treasury securities that were lawfully acquired. If you're anybody, China, Saudi Arabia, Taiwan, Japan, anybody, you say, hey, you guys, the United States, just stole, not froze, but stole $300 billion of Treasury securities. Why do I want to be in Treasuries? Well, you have to be in some because there aren't many good alternatives, but you're going to go to gold. So the gold is going to go higher. It's bigger than Trump is how I would put it.
Right. So yeah, there's no end to the gold bull run because I got so many messages on X today, Jim. What does this mean, Daniela? But as we know, it's
Yeah,
just immediate reaction
sure.
to the win. But like you say, much bigger. Does it change anything for the Fed?
No.
Just to add to all this news action, we have the conclusion of the FOMC tomorrow, Jim.
Yeah, it's right. Usually the Fed is like all the headlines. Well, no one's even thinking about the Fed. I do because I read a newsletter. Uh, yeah, here's the thing, Danielle, and I'll answer the question directly. It doesn't change anything. The Fed is going to raise interest rate, or sorry, cut interest rate. I misspoke. Fed's going to
Yeah.
cut interest rates 25 basis points tomorrow. They're going to cut them another 25 basis points in December. They're on a path. It's not, it's the no drama Fed. They're going to keep lowering interest rates. That's not necessarily a good thing, by the way. Everyone's like, oh, well, the Fed's cut rates, it's stimulus. They are cutting rates, but it is not stimulus. Cutting rates is something that goes hand in hand with an economic slowdown or recession. So we'll see how Trump's policies try to turn the recession around, but that's kind of baked in the pie. The U.S. economy is slowing very, very dramatically. So if you ask me what the Fed's going to do, it's easy. They're going to cut 25 basis points today and again in December. They're on that path. But if you ask me if that's stimulus, I would say no. The Fed is almost irrelevant in the stimulus debate. They put on a good show. I'll give Jay Powell credit. He's a smart guy. He's a lawyer, not an economist. But it's not. I do watch it and I write about it and I analyze it, but I focus much more on commercial banks, productivity gains and things like that.
So no change, and no change from the Fed. I mean,
Correct.
we'll see how this plays out for Powell's role going looking forward, Jim. Right? We'll see if he'll still be
Yeah,
there.
yeah. His term, governors have a 14-year term, but the chair has a
Right.
4-year term. His term expires in early 2026. Now, the question is, can the president fire the Fed chair? Well, it's never happened. They sort of like pull the rug out from under them. Their term expires, they leave, pick a new chair, fine. But there's never been a Fed chair who was fired in midterm, and it's not even clear you can do it. But I don't think Trump's going to try. The clock's ticking. Powell's had 2 terms. He's on his way out in 2026. Why pick that fight if you don't have to? But where Trump will prevail, and I think here's the big story, Danielle. There's rotation. There'll be vacancies on the board of governors, and look who Trump appoints to the board of governors. You're going to see, and it's not a hard forecast, but you're going to see names like Judy Shelton, Monica Crowley, and others who are very pro gold. Wouldn't we love to see Ron Paul on the Federal Reserve Board? I don't think he'll do it, but
Hey, you never know, Jim.
well, this is where the not to get too deep in the weeds, but this is where the
Yeah.
Senate is a big deal because the president can make appointments, but the Senate has to approve it. And if you have 51 votes, there's always a flaky Republican somewhere, Lisa Murkowski, who's like, playing footsie with the Democrats. But if you get to 54, which I expect, you can even lose a vote or two and still prevail. So I would, I would suggest the viewers kind of circle Judy Shelton on the board of governors. She just came out with a new book, Good as Gold. Of course, my book,
Yes.
The New Case
Yes.
for Gold. So that's very bullish for gold.
Yeah, we had her on the show, and she's fantastic. And speaking of new books, you have your new book out, Money GPT. We're going to bring you back, Jim, because today we're just talking market reaction. You're coming back next week. We're going to do a full discussion on your book focused on China, AI. I mean, the big question is China, what's going to happen next on the AI front? I mean, they're definitely beating the US on the AI scene right now. Will things change now with everything Trump has planned?
I sent it. First of all, thank you, Danielle. I'm looking forward to that interview next week. I sent a tweet out late last night, early this morning. I said the election's over, but AI is not. That story it's got legs. It's huge.
Exactly.
That's what the book's about.
Exactly. And we're going to talk about that next week. Finally, Jim, what do you think the main message Trump's victory sent? If you had to pick one, what's the message?
Well, I would say decades, but certainly the last 10 years since Obama and getting worse under the Biden administration, the Democrats in particular, but I would say the legacy media and a lot of other people, they couldn't think about people as people. You were black, you were a woman, you were Latino, you were in a category, which is bad enough in my view. But then once they put you in the category, the Democrats presupposed that they knew who you were. I had Joy Reid was on. Well, Harris lost because white women didn't do their jobs, and Juan Williams was on. Harris lost because black men didn't step up and vote for Harris. I said, like, stop. And the point was made. They're men and women. What do they really care about? They care about jobs, getting their first house, getting the mortgage down payment, real incomes going up, the price of gasoline, the price of groceries, etc. It doesn't matter, black, white, male, female, gender, whatever. Those are the things people care about. And Trump recognized that. He didn't treat people as categories. He treated them as people, and people listened. And then another footnote, this I think is probably good for you, Danielle, is the legacy media is dead, just dead. They're irrelevant. They're still in the air. They still have some clout. They'll try to set the conversation, but alternative media, shows like this, Joe Rogan has got 15 million people, and his demographics are 71% male, and I believe about 80% under the age of 30. Okay, that's a bigger platform. You have your audience and so forth. Alternative media, YouTube, podcasts, that's where people are going for information, because those people actually tell the truth, whereas the legacy media is just a bucket of lies. And so I think we've seen, it's a little more communications theory, but I think we're seeing a media revolution in addition to the political revolution.
Yeah. That would make a great course in any journalism classroom. And thank you for that, for saying that. Jim, thank you for joining us this Wednesday for Market Reaction here. We're going to see you next week.
Thanks.
And thank you for watching. We'll have more breaking news, so be sure to keep watching the Daniela Camboni Show here on ITM Trading. That's it for me. We'll see you real soon. I have had the privilege and the honor of doing a career I love for close to 20 years, and I have met thousands of the most insightful and intelligent people on the planet. There is just so much wisdom, lessons, and insights I have gained in terms of building an incredible portfolio and preserving your wealth. And we want to share those insights with you today. We have put together a free report that highlights some of the best knowledge I have acquired through all these years. You can get it today for free at DaniReport.com. Again, that's Dani, D-A-N-I, report.com. Don't miss out. Get it now.